Hi guys, welcome back to Crafty Quilting Designs. I hope you're having a really great day and everything is going really fantastic for you. So yesterday I uploaded my Scrappy quilt and I absolutely fell in love with that quilt, if I have to be totally honest. I think it's so beautiful for a Scrappy quilt. So today I thought, why not make some cushions for it, so some cushion covers. I have two huge 23-inch square cushion forms for them, and I thought, why not use these and make a cushion cover, you know, to go with this quilt, because it's just a quilt on the bed and it just like it needs something else. And so I thought, let me do that and use up all of my scraps and get it over and done with. So I know that is going to be taken care of, and that's one of the, well, I should say two of my got to do's tick off the list. So so let's get into this. So I have some scraps left over. A lot of them are actually just strips, and I actually showed you this one as well in the video because this was a very recent one from my 9-patch split quilt. Excuse me. So yeah, so I've decided to cut some strips of one of the little bits I have and put them together, or piece them together so they make up a strip. Some of them are 2 inches, some of them are 1, some of them are just random pieces, to be honest. So yeah, so that's a project. So I don't know exactly how I'm going to get there or what sort of image I have to get to the destination, but I'm going to sew them together and then cut them again. As to what I am going to do, I don't know yet, so I'll see how I feel on the spot. So yeah, so that's it really. Just a bit of a spontaneous creativity, you know, coming at you today. So yeah, so that's it. So that's our project. So let's get started. I'm going to show you a little bit of me sewing, and I know that's going to be boring, and a little bit of me cutting, and yes, that's going to be boring too, but it's just to give you an idea of what to do in case you are sort of struggling or not sure how to get going with your scrappy quilts. So I think what you can do is get the objective of sewing your pieces together to make a new piece of fabric, if that makes sense. All right, so that's how I look at it. So I sew my pieces together and then I have this new piece of fabric. Whether it's an 8x8 or a 10x10, it doesn't matter. In my head, it's a piece of fabric that is sewn together. Whether it's a wholesome or one sheet or one color, it doesn't really matter. It's still a piece of fabric. So if you look at it that way, then your creativity opens and it's a lot more easier for you to dive in and do what you want to do. So hopefully I'm giving you some ideas of how you can use your imagination, because at the end of the day, it's scrappy. If you make a mistake, it's scrappy. So there you go. So, you know, don't be afraid, just go after it and see what turns out. You may just learn something. That's how I look at it. All right, so let's get into this video and let's see what happens. So let's get into it. Okay, so as I said, I haven't really pre-planned this in my head, but I'm just going to go for it and see what actually happens. So I've got my random bits here, and I've already put some out. So they are approximately, I haven't measured them, so let's do that now so I know what I'm working with. So they're 24, this one is 23, this one is 25, yep, and that one is 24, and again 24. So I said it's 23, the pillow form, so I'm going to work with 24 and give myself a ½ inch seam all the way around. So I need a 24-inch square. So yeah, so that's it there, and I'm just going to add some more on until I get to there. So I'm going to sew bits together. Ones like these, I'm not sure if I'm going to cut them down or I'm just going to leave them the size that it is. This looks like it's about 3 inches there, all right, in the width. So let's go with that and see what actually happens. No, that's already in there. Let's go for this one here and see. Oh, let's try that. And well, that's a biggie. Okay, let's move this up a bit. Right, so I'm going to sew some of these together and see what length I am actually with it, and see what length it actually reaches. So I can see, yeah, I think that's where I'm going to go with it for now. I'm going to try this bit here as well. I don't want them that mixed up together. Okay, so here we go. Some sewing time now. Alright, so I have my little area set up here with all of my fabrics, and so I'm going to get started on this sewing. So I've got some bits that I want to join here. I'll put front sides together and line it up. Okay, so let's start from this bit here. Now, no particular order, just as I've literally laid them out, and I have not really put them, as I said, in any particular order. So I'm just sewing it together. Some of them are ironed because they were pressed before, and then some of them aren't. So I just took them as they were. And some, where I've put a seam, I've actually pressed the seams open. Some I have, some I haven't. This one I haven't, and it's a very tiny seam, so I'm just going to lay it flat. And I'm only making the effort because if I have to quilt this, which I haven't decided as yet, then it's for me, it's a lot more easier if it's quilted. It lays more flatter, and sometimes I take the same preference when it goes to for quilting if I'm using a quilt. So it's just a habit that I've gotten myself into. And I'm just taking my time because at the end of the day this is just mindless sewing, really, nothing major. And again, just going to add the other one, put it in front sides together. So I hope you try this with your quilts. Don't give yourself a race, just take your time and get it done. And just relax with it, just go with it, really. Okay, I'm just finger pressing it out so it's nice and flat. And then this is a bit of a wonky bit as well, as you can see there. It's not even straight, and I'm not going to bother straightening it out. I'm literally going to use it as it is. The only thing I'm literally doing is trying to get the top there straight. That's literally what I'm doing. So I am not, excuse me, I am not going to trim too much from there. So that's the only sort of method I'm using. I'm trying to line all of them up the top straight so it's easier, so I don't have to cut too much off on one side. Right, let's get those going. I tend to get a dry throat very quickly because I do a lot of talking. So my throat gets dry very quickly. the press, and I'm just literally just flattening it as like that, and just flattening the seams at the back. Excuse me. Right, another fat one again. When I say fat, obviously a wider strip than the previous one. And you can do any that you like. If you want to do crumb quilting, obviously that's going to take a little bit longer because you're working with smaller pieces of fabric. And here where it's wonky, I'm literally going to sew it on wonkily. I'm literally going to sew it on wonky. I'm not going to stress about it at all, because obviously it's a scrappy quilt, and that's the beauty of it. So right, I've got about 4 more to go. So I'm going to continue doing this, and I will show you the completed all of the strips sewn on together for you, and you'll have a look at it. All right, so I have stitched all together, and I have trimmed it up into the size that I want. So it is approximately, let's have a quick check. This size says 22, 23, and what is that? 23. Right, so I've got a 20. Let me just double check that again. So I have 23 there and 23 there. Yep, so 23-inch square. Okay, so I'm just going to cut it right across the middle. As I said, I have not pre-planned this. I'm just going as I feel. So if it comes out not too good, we're going to correct it together. I'm not going to move it, and I'm going to cut it the other direction. So I'm going to turn my mat because I don't want to interfere with it and get it out of sync. So again, cut it this way now. I'm going to start from the end here and work my way up, making sure I'm lined up properly. I could just simply use my yardstick, be easier. Give me a nice long straight cut in the middle. I didn't get that bit there, sorry, excuse me. I was talking a lot today, so it is playing havoc with my throat. Right, so let's see what this looks like. I didn't get that bit there because of it's hanging off the table, so I'm just going to trim that. Okay, so I'm going to move these bits around. Put this one there. No, that's putting it back in the original place. Add that there. Alright, so I have cut and played around and moved. So basically all I've done is just swap them around. So if it was facing opposite, then I've swapped them on the other side, okay, just to get a different formation. Now what I'm planning to do, I've got a good spare bit of cream fabric here that I used for the sashing in the quilt. So I'm going to cut two strips in width and the length of whatever this is. So I'm assuming this is, I'm going to use my yardstick. It is telling me it's 15.5. So I'm going to cut 15.5 4 times and then sew them on together. So I'm going to sew, in fact, I'm going to do it twice. I'm going to sew it there, 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 and there. So I'm going to do 2 strips cut, so 1 cut in total, just to get the right amount, and then I will sew it together. So I'm going to do that now, and then that's what we will do, and have a look and see what it looks like. So I'm just going to move those to the side for now. Just making sure the lines are, because obviously it is not straight, so I just want to make sure that I don't waste it. Even though it's scrap, I still don't want to waste it. And get an accurate cut, really. Get that there. Get a nice fresh straight cut, so I know it is straight and clean and not. So I'm using my cutting board. I'm literally measuring from my cutting board. I'm just using my ruler as the guide. Get rid of that. I'm going to cut 2 inch there. So I've doubled it up, so I'm just cutting once basically, so I get my two strips there, and then I can cut them down into the size that I need. And I said, just measure this again. Old saying, measure twice, cut once. I'm going to cut at 16.5. just to make sure I've got some extra room. Whatever else I don't want, then I will simply just get rid of. Just gonna double that again. Yeah, 16.5, so that's 16 there. Because it's scraps, I'm just making sure it's proper, because obviously I don't want to go into my yardage or anything like that, so making sure it's done properly. Don't have to waste the fabric. So there you go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Half, lovely. And it says that as well on my ruler. So yes, everything's nice and straight. I'm just going to cut across there, and I'm going to cut in the middle there. I'll just crease that. So lovely. So what I'm going to do now is just put these back together, and I'm going to sew. I'm going to sew it there, join the other side, and the same on the other side. Okay. All right. So I have put one side of the strip on there, and I don't like it. And what it's telling me is that it's going to give me a big X in the middle, and I don't really want that. So I'm going to unpick it. I've only sewn one side on. This one is just laid there. So just to see what it looks like. So I'm going to unpick it and I'm going to sew together as it is. What I have decided is that rather than, now that I've cut the cream 2-inch strip, I'm going to put a border around it, and I think that would be better. Yeah, so that's what I've decided on. So I'm going to stitch them together as it is and then put the border on and see what actually happens. All right, so yeah. I think it's going to look good. It's looking good so far, but let's do that together and then see what happens. Alright, let's turn this out and see what it looks like. Let's get rid of that pin. Okay, not too bad. I'm quite happy with that. So let's give it a nice little press and see what it looks like. Right, so I'll quickly iron this down and then see what it looks like. Now, I'm going to add the border around it, and because I think it's slightly smaller than what I wanted it to be, which is fine because I don't like it to fit too loose. I like it really snug when I'm actually making a pillow cover or a cushion cover. So I like it really snug on the pillow. So what I'm going to do, I still have this amount left from my borders for my Scrappy quilt. So I'm going to cut this down in half. I'll probably cut it down to, let's measure, see what this is here. So I think it is, let's have a look. It is actually 5.5. So I'm going to cut it down to 2. I'm going to cut it down to 2 and put a 2-inch border all the way around, just as I've done with the quilt. Yeah, so that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to cut that now, sew it all the way around, and then I will do the back for cushion. Now I'm not sure if I'm going to add any, well, I think it will look nicer actually if I quilt it, to be honest. It has to be done, it cannot not be done. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to iron this out very quickly so that it's nice and smooth when I actually cut it. So just to flatten it down and everything is nice and uniform. Okay, so move that to the side, and I want 2-inch. So I'll just fold it and do 2 cuts. I should be able to get 2-inch from that because it's 5 at the moment. So I'll just get a nice 2-inch cut. I'm going to use my actual ruler for this. In fact, I can probably just use the board, it'd be easier. I'm going to fold that yet again because it's a bit longer. So there, nice 2-inch. As long as your blade's sharp, it will go through, and I recently changed it. Lovely. I'll do another one, 2-inch, and then I will stitch it all the way around. Put some batting on, and then we will put the backing and then quilt the top and see what it looks like. So I'm going to stitch this together front size. So I have a long bit, and then yeah, stitch it all the way around. So let's go do that now. Alright, that's what it looks like. So I've added the border around it. Didn't really need to, but I just thought I'll use up the fabric and just want to get rid of it really. So I have more available to do other things with. So what I'm going to do now, so I've ironed the back down, so making sure that the seams are nice and flat. I mean, even though it's a scrappy, I'm still making sure I do all the right things. Because at the end of the day, I'm always concerned about my sewing machine and the needle, etc. So the less bulk it has to go through, the easier. So because I've put the border on, the seams want to go towards the actual top itself, so not outer but inwards. So allow the seams to go wherever they want, don't force them. So it's a lot more flatter. So what I'm going to do now is to put some batting down and some backing, and I'm going to do a quick quilting on top of it. Nothing special, just an all over meandering pattern over it is what I'm going to do. Or I may just do some lines, actually, probably the lines. So I'll use my walking foot and just do some lines following the arrow, so all of the lines will radiate towards the middle. So I'll just do some lines in regards to going towards, so all 4 triangles will have that. So that's what I'll do. I'll use the walking foot, and yeah, and then I will put the last bit on for the back to make an envelope pillow cushion, all right, cover. So that's what I'm going to do, and then I will show you the end result. I've got to make another one, so I'll show you both of them. Alright, so I have sewed it all around. So I've done the quilting. Okay, so obviously I've done the same thing as you would for a quilt. So I've sandwiched it and done the quilting, and I've also added the back fabric for the cushion itself. So now I'm about to just turn it right side out to see what it looks like, and we're both seeing this together at the same time because I haven't turned it around at all. See what it looks like. So it's a really huge 23-inch square cushion cover. So it's looking good. I put all those points out. So I've done a envelope back, and I'll show you the back, so it's easy to put the cushion form itself in, and it's folded over. I do have a video on how to do this. I will link it in the description box below, so in case you're not sure how to put together a pillow or cushion cover, you can learn how to do it. Alright, so this is what it looks like. I know you're not seeing me. So that's what it looks like. I'm going to put it flat under my cutting table so you can actually see it, and I can actually have a look because I still haven't seen it because I'm showing it to you. So I'll do that, and then I will make another one because I need to make another one, and then I will put them into the pillow form, and then I will lay them on the bed and show you what they look like. So let me put this flat for you first before I do that, and then we will make another one. Here you go. Okay, so that is what it looks like. So we're both seeing this for the first time. You can see all the quilting lines. It looks pretty good actually. I'm quite pleased with it. So I will put it in the pillow, as I said, and then we will see what it looks like. So I've got to make another one. It doesn't take long to make actually, to be honest, as obviously I've made it in the real time that you're looking at it, so it doesn't take long at all to put together. So and that's it. So right, I'm gonna make another one now, and then you shall see both of them together. Okay guys, so the cushion covers are finally ready. So let's have a look and let me know, what do you think? I think they look really pretty. So we made two, remember, and they were 23-inch squared, all right? And remember, I cut them in 2/4, so we got 4 and triangular quarters, and I quilted them. And let's have a look at it. You might think it's a lot of colors, but let's have a look at them. There they are. So what do you think? I think they look all right, actually. This is the first one we made, that I made on camera. And of course, this is the other one. Okay, they're absolutely big and beautiful, and they go really nicely with the quilt. So what I will do, I will actually just lay the quilt out and put them together, and then, you know, you can decide for yourself if that's something you want to do, or if you think that's way too much colorful fabrics in one go. But as I said, some people like those colors coming back at you, but they look really nice. It is a good way of using up all of the scraps and getting rid of that. Right, talking about scraps, now if you watched my video on making the quilt, my introduction was really about using a method to get you there in terms of organizing your scraps, really. And I've already started my next set. So here they are. All right, so as I said, once I have finished with the project, I literally sit there for 10-15 minutes and put all of the other bits together. All right, so I start making my blocks. So get into that habit. It really keeps it all organized, and I just put it on a board. That's what I do, and just stack them there. Once they reached a particular quantities, like the last set was 35, then I will make it into something. But it's a really good way to organize your scraps and organize your brain and keep your space nice and creative. So get into that habit. I will share that little tip with you. When you finish your project, make your scraps. Remember, I said that to you, okay? So I will show you now the quilt and the cushions together, and then I'm going to run a poll. I want to know how many of you actually like that, and how many of you are actually going to make a scrappy quilt and scrappy cushions to match your quilt. So I want to see what the poll actually says, because I think personally it's a little bit too much of scrappiness. But there you go, everybody's different and we all like different things. That's what makes us unique. So let's go see all that together and let me know what you think, all right? Oh, and by the way, before I forget, please like and subscribe. It's really, really nice when you do that. It encourages me and it lets me know that you're liking my videos. So there you go. Like, subscribe, and share. It's really easy, really, when you think about it. All it is a click of a button. And there you go, you've done it for me. Thumbs up, okay? Happy quilting, everybody. Bye for now, and see you next time on Crafty Quilting Designs.